if I did anything, I think I have managed to convince both the board of the IMF and staff of the IMF, when it needed a bit convincing, that women empowerment and women's contribution to the economy is macro-critical. And it applies throughout any country's organizations. It applies to education, it applies to finance, and I'm looking only at the financial and economic side of it. But it applies to education, it applies to economic empowerment, it applies to financial access, it applies to how budgets are designed by countries, and we are doing now a lot of technical assistance on gender budgeting so that countries actually take at heart where they spend money and how it matters to women's contribution to the economy. It matters in terms of revenue raising, in terms of expenditure. When you raise revenue by having a family regarded as the tax unit, it's bad news for the woman, because the woman is generally regarded as a secondary earning, and the marginal tax rate is higher on her source of revenue. It matters where you spend money as a state. If you spend enough, if you allocate enough of your budget to childcare center, for instance, or if you are mindful of education, and this would apply more to the advanced economies. For the low-income countries, if you actually subject cash transfers to the fact that girls go to school up to a certain age, it matters for fertility rate later on, for age of marriage, and so on and so forth. So we look at all those issues. We have 25 countries that have gone into a pilot review of their macroeconomic circumstances in relation to women empowerment, and we're continuing that by actually streamlining in all countries where it is deemed relevant for their development.
The only thing that I wanted to add to what Christina said on this is that maybe two things. One is that I think in many countries today, vast majority, 90% of the countries today, there are still restrictions in one form or the other that prevent women from realizing their full potential, either in terms of participating in the labor market or simply as citizens. And I think one of the things that we need to be doing more is to be highlighting both progress and lack of progress in that, because I think there is a role to be played in that. And the second thing I would say is that if you look at not just the economic aspects, but now at the broader aspects in terms of women's ability to participate, their social position in society, there's a lot of examples of success that we don't draw enough upon. And it's also by articulating and making clearer those examples of good success that we'll be able to spread that message across more broadly. There are organizations that are focused on this exclusively. Laurie Adams is sitting in there, and that's an organization, Women for Women, which is actually focused on trying to spread some of those good examples. So I do think that there are ways of positive experience that we should be building on more aggressively.